Hello and welcome to another edition of Proficio Cyber Chats. Today we'd like to welcome Macy Dennis, Chief Security Officer for EVOTEK, and Brad Taylor, Co-founder and CEO of Proficio. Today our guests are going to be discussing hot topic and industry bad word, ransomware, including how have attacks evolved and why have they become so popular, and what are some best practices we can adopt to be better prepared. And lastly, how can we come together as a cybersecurity community to help combat these issues? Let's chat. While today's threat landscape continues to evolve, challenging IT security teams daily, one consistent seems to be that ransomware attacks continue to plague organizations. How have these attacks evolved, and why have they become so popular?
I think anybody that's been watching anything in the news, for the last year, every fourth story is a ransomware attack, and they're all successful, obviously, if they're making the news. What we're seeing is a massive increase in the number of attacks and the number of successful compromises, which means that people are paying ransom. If people are paying ransom, attackers are going to continue to attack. I think the FBI said statistically the number of attacks has gone up about 300%. Now, we don't see that all, within our monitoring of security and infrastructures, but we've seen a double in the number of compromises for organizations just in the last 3 to 6 months. So the number of attacks are increasing, the sophistication is increasing, and the complexity is increasing. There is some changes in how attackers are actually performing ransomware attacks, which are helping us in some ways to actually detect them faster and respond, but they're much more sophisticated and much more dangerous. What are you seeing, Macy?
Yeah, Brad, you nailed it, especially with the data coming out from the Bureau and several other agencies that I'm connected with. It's increasing alarming rates. The ransomware plus the supply chain, it's really focused on, people don't realize it, but it's a lot of intelligence gathering. Everybody thinks it's all about the money. The money is kind of like the extra sugar on top, if you think about it. The actors or criminals, and at times it could be a nation state even paying a criminal agency. They just want the data, the nation state, and allowing the criminals to keep the money. As far as the point of how they're increasing in complexity and things such as that, what it is just like all of us, they're learning as they go along. They're getting more advanced. They're realizing that they can get more out of the pie, so to speak. I think it's really important because we could sit here and say, you go put this box in place, this, and that. I don't think clients really need to focus on a whole stack of areas, which I know we're going to talk about. But it hits multiple different departments. It's the need of organizations like yourselves to be able to kind of be the eyes on glass with the binoculars looking for certain things, because the dwell time is increasing, where they're kind of sitting around and hanging out and getting what they need. And by the time they push that button to encrypt, it's already over. I mean, 70% of what they're doing is done. The rest of it's now just collecting your money.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. We've seen a dynamic change in the style of ransomware attacks. I think a year or 2 years ago, it was a lot of drive-by attacks. So it was, spray them out, see who catches, on a phishing attack. And then, an individual device gets compromised and automatically it triggers the encryption and it just encrypts the files that it has access to. That isn't happening anymore. It is a targeted attack using a lot of sophisticated information about the target. That's the bad news. The good news is it's not a single event automatically happening. We actually, as you mentioned before, it's multiple stages, so I have time to detect and respond before they actually push the button. But I need to detect quickly, validate quickly, resolve quickly, and respond quickly to contain, because when that button's pushed, you don't have a lot of time and you got to react even faster.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank Macy and Brad again for joining us. If you have any questions related to any of the topics discussed today, please feel free to reach out to us at proficio.com or proficio.es in Spanish. Thank you for tuning in and hope you join us on the next episode of Proficio Cyber Chats.